World War II, a narrated story, it was the dawn of a new century, and the world believed it had learned from the horrors of the Great War. But the peace signed at Versailles in 1919 left wounds that never healed. Germany, humiliated and impoverished, became fertile ground for anger and revenge, and soon for fire. In the 1930s, Europe was sinking into economic and moral crisis. Unemployment and despair paved the way for leaders who promised greatness and order. Among them was Adolf H., who rose to power in 1933. With fiery words, he promised to restore Germany's pride, but at a terrible cost. Across the world, Imperial Japan was expanding through Asia, dreaming of its own empire. And in Italy, Benito M. raised the banner of fascism, seeking to revive the glory of Rome. The planet was marching, once again, toward the abyss. On September 1st, 1939, the world stopped. Germany invaded Poland using a new kind of lightning warfare blitz. In just days, tanks, planes, and infantry crushed the Polish defenses. 2 days later, Britain and France declared war on Germany. World War II had begun. In the months that followed, the conflict spread like wildfire. Denmark and Norway fell quickly, followed by the Netherlands and Belgium. In May 1940, Paris was occupied. Proud and powerful France surrendered in mere weeks. The world watched in disbelief as the German army advanced seemingly unstoppable. Across the Channel, however, one island refused to kneel. Winston Churchill, newly appointed Prime Minister, behooed to fight on the beaches, on the landing grounds, in tea fields, and in the streets. The Battle of Britain began a fight in the skies between the RAF and the Luftwaffe. Night after night, bombs rained over London. Thousands died, but Britain's spirit did not break. Hitler abandoned his invasion plans. It was his first major defeat. Meanwhile, the war expanded. Japan pushed through the Pacific, conquering territories across Asia. And in 1941, the world changed forever again. On June 22nd, Germany broke its pact with the Soviet Union and launched Operation Barbarossa, the largest land invasion in history. Millions of soldiers marched east, confident of quick victory. But Russia's winter, hunger, and fierce resistance turned the campaign into a nightmare. A few months later, on December 7, 1941, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. The United States, until then hesitant to join the war, declared war on Japan and soon after, on Germany and Italy. The war had become truly global. The years that followed plunged the planet into chaos. Germany dominated Europe and North Africa. Japan ruled much of the Pacific. But slowly, the tide began to turn. In 1942, the Allies won the Battle of Midway, stopping Japanese expansion. In Egypt, Rommel's forces were defeated at El Alamein, and in 1943, in the ruins of Stalingrad, the German army suffered its first crushing defeat. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers surrendered. From that point on, retreat was inevitable. In 1944 came the decisive moment. On June 6th, D-Day Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy. It was the beginning of Europe's liberation. Rietenmont's Paris was free, and the Allies were advancing toward Germany. But the end was not yet. In December 1944, Hitler launched one last desperate attack, the Battle of the Bulge. It failed. Surrounded from east and west, Germany crumbled. In April 1945, Berlin lay in. On April 30th, Adolf H. took his own life. A week later, Germany surrendered. The war in Europe was over. In the Pacific, however, the fighting raged on. Japan refused to surrender. The battles of Iwo Jima and Okinawa revealed the brutal resolve of the Japanese army. An invasion of Japan was expected to cost millions of lives. Then, in August 1945, a new weapon changed everything. The atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki destroyed entire cities in seconds. Faced with unimaginable destruction, Japan surrendered. World War II officially ended on September 2, 1945. The world emerged from the ashes. Over 60 million lives were lost. Cities were gone, economies shattered, and humanity scarred forever. The concentration camps revealed the depths of Nazi horror. 6 million Jews murdered, along with millions of others. From the ruins, New powers rose. The United Nations was born, promising peace. But soon, the world split again between the US and the Soviet Union. The Cold War began. World War II was more than a clash of armies. It was a war of ideas, of morality, of humanity itself. It showed both the darkest and the brightest sides of mankind. Cruelty and courage, destruction and rebirth. WWII. The echo of its lessons remains. Peace is never permanent. It is something we must fight for every single day.